Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Skip Allen, and this is another episode of Bleacher Features. Actually, it's the last episode of the season, and I have a very special guest with me who loves the movie we're talking about, so I wanted to make sure I got her on to talk about this movie because I know it's one of her favorite movies that she likes to talk about, and that is my good friend. I can get her in here. Peggy. Peggy, how you doing?
I am doing great. I got my second vaccine shot a couple days ago. Was a little rough yesterday, but today I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fantastic. Ready to talk about White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, I got mine on Friday, and I had like 3 days of I felt like I was in a coma or something.
I took a few naps.
I wasn't feeling good for about 2 or 3 days, but then I had to make a trip down the road on Monday, so I just I was out of town for a couple of days. I got back a couple hours ago. So, yeah, so let's get into here. We're talking about White Man Can't Jump, a movie that you really enjoy. You're one of the there's a couple people I heard say they like it, but I haven't heard anybody tell me that they love this movie as much as you do. I love the movie. It's not one of those ones that say, all right, basketball movies, I'm going to go back to White Man Can't Jump right now. You know, I would go to Hoosiers or some of these others first, but I do respect it and really love the performances from the leads. So what is it about this movie that you love so much, and why is it that, you wanted to talk about it with me on this show?
I think it's just because you get some great basketball scenes, but you get humor in there too, because Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, you wouldn't think that would be a winning combination, but just the chemistry between the two of them it just jumps off the screen at you. If you guys aren't familiar with the movie, I beg of you to see it. It is an underappreciated basketball movie in my mind because not a lot of people bring it up, and it is probably one of my top 5 basketball movies.
Yeah, it's definitely in the top 5 basketball, probably top 30, 40, 50 sports movies of all time. Yeah. And you can include Pickup Basketball as a sports movie. So if anybody wants, you can't, yes, you can. This is going to be, if you don't like Pickup Basketball, you're not going to like some of the episodes this season because there's some maybe questionable quote unquote sports, a couple of the ones, but I look at them as sports. IMDb look at them as sports.
Sure.
Sports to me.
Absolutely.
Ron Shelton, this guy's had a good career. He's been around. He wrote and directed this film. What do you think of him as far as that goes?
I mean, he did Bull Durham. That's not one of my favorite baseball movies, but it is a favorite amongst a lot of people. I do love Tin Cup. Tin Cup is probably my favorite golf movie. So he knows what he's doing when he's doing sports movies. So I respect the man.
Yeah, he really does. He double dipped there with Kevin Costner and had 2 winners, in my opinion. But this is another winner as well. So let's get into this cast here. Obviously, Woody Harrelson as Billy Hoyle, Wesley Snipes as Sidney Dean, Rosie Perez as Gloria Clemente. I hate it. Autocorrect sometimes messing me up. Tyler Farrell as Rhonda Dean, Kareem Hardison as Junior, Silk Cozart, what a name, Silk Cozart as Robert, Marquise Johnson as Raymond, Ernest Harden Jr. as George, John Marshall Jones as Walter, Kevin Benton as Zeke, Nigel Miguel as Dwight the Flight. Every time I looked up his last name, I couldn't see his last name. So I said, Dwight the Flight. We just call him the Flight. We do. Right. And Alex Trebek, of all people.
A very young-looking Alex Trebek in this one. Compared to...
Alex Trebek is in this, and he is young. Very young. You're right about that. And, irony of all ironies, he just passed away. So this is like a homage to Alex Trebek in a little way. We get a chance to talk about Alex Trebek for.
Oh, we'll talk about the Jeopardy scene, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that before you know it. But let's get into this. I liked there was some music playing over the beginning, kind of jazzy, kind of bluesy music over the beginning. I thought that was kind of nice. Then you get to see these 3 old guys singing on the beach. A quartet, or not a quartet 4.
Little trio.
A little trio. They were pretty good, actually. Yeah. Then we see Billy driving up in in his car, walks up over, and he's got a basketball in his hand. That's Billy Hoyle. That's one of the main. That's Billy, who's played by Wesley Snipes. He's got a basketball, and he walks up, starts dancing in front of the guys. Like he really enjoys the music, you know. You find out through the movie he really has an appreciation for music.
You can hear Jimmy.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a reoccurring theme throughout the movie, him and Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
So then we find out where they're at. They're at the Venice Beach Courts in Venice, California. He tells the guys, keep singing, guys. My old man was a preacher. He says, keep singing, guys. My old man was a preacher. I love this SHIT. So what I mean, there's certain moments where you can't not curse, but I kind of spelled it out there. But he says, my old man was a preacher. I love this SHIT. Then we see him sleeping on the basketball, and that kind of transitions into a bunch of guys playing basketball on the court, playing pickup basketball on the courts.
Yep.
And then we got finally introduced to Wesley Snipes, who is Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney's. This is another recurring thing in the movie. These guys arguing. There's a lot of arguing amongst people in the movie. So if you don't like arguing, too bad.
Yeah, I mean that the trash talk just happens in basketball kind of naturally, so it fits. It just fits.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and this kind of fits into the movie because of some of the different scenarios the trash talking gets involved with. So he's trash talking Walter and then blocks his shot. Walter falls down, and he's embarrassed. You know, he's mad. Says Sydney fouled him, and they're, you know, of course, they're arguing about the score. Like, look, I've been there. I used to play pickup basketball for years. I was really good at basketball when I was younger, and I played a lot of pickup basketball. You're going to argue about the score. If the day is long, you're going to argue about the score.
Yep.
It does not fail.
Especially if there's money on the line. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. So then there's a starts over. The fight starts over, and remarks about George's mother. Now, another theme I want to go to, which, okay, look, when you're a kid or when you're playing basketball, when you get between those lines, there's things that you just do, and it's trash talking about someone's mother. When you get outside the lines, that's another thing, you know. And so you're gonna joke about people's mothers, try to get under people's nerves. I mean, I guess it's okay to do that. So more mother insults, and then I guess the guy can't play because when he fell down, he hurt his tailbone or something. Walter, what was the guy's name again? George couldn't play, so he goes off to the side, and then they're like, well, just grab that guy sitting over there off to the side. Yeah. And who's that guy sitting off to the side?
Billy Hoyle.
Billy Hoyle.
Well, yeah, they basically try to settle with the person that they suspect is the least talented in basketball. And we find out later, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead getting into this, but Billy is there dressed specifically to make everyone at the court think that, yeah, he has zero game. Little do they know, he is an ex-college player who has a lot of game.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right about that. We'll get there eventually. But Sydney asks him what the score is, but he calls him a chump. Another theme throughout the movie. There's like all these little themes throughout the movie. Chump is a word that does not go over very well with. It doesn't matter who it is. Nobody wants to be called chump in this movie. I don't want to be called chump, but it's not that insulting to me. But these guys, they take it as an insult. They don't like to be called chump. So, and then, you know, we definitely don't want to be called chump change. You know, that's add that in there. That's even more insult. But whatever. So Billy says he's not a chump. Sydney's wife comes over and tells him check didn't work when she was trying to get groceries, so she needs some money from him. Well, it's par for the course for Sydney, given the wife's doesn't work at the grocery store. With all the things this guy's into, you know, he's definitely a hustler.
Yes, for sure. So
Sydney gets Billy to replace George. Says two and out, no need to stretch. Billy's off the side doing the old man stretches and stuff. Try to get these guys to think he's just some old white guy off the side over there.
Yep.
So Billy makes a good place. His team takes the lead. Billy obviously is showing that he can play, so he makes a good play, and his team takes the lead. And then they end up winning on an alley-oop. And, of course, Sidney's not happy about this because he thinks, oh, yeah, we're going to win. Nope. Billy helps his team win on the alley-oop. And then they bet $62 that he can beat him.
Yep.
So he ponies up the $62, and then Billy ponies up his $62, and they have 5 shots at the top of the key. And this is a fun scene because Billy's like, this isn't really my shot. I haven't made more than 2 shots in a row in my life.
Yeah, I mean, Billy's trying to hustle him right back. I mean, he even at the end, he's like right in his ear. He's like, "Don't worry, Sidney. I've hustled as much more talented than you," and it gets in his head. And then that 5th and final shot, he clanks it off the rim. Billy takes the money.
Yeah, and so he only comes home with $100-something bucks, but that's
a lot back then.
Yeah, back what is this, 92, 93 in there somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, he clanks the 5th shot off the rim because he gets in his ear. And what's his name, borrowed some money from one of the guys on the court, and he's wearing a Michael Jordan jersey. I think that was
the great Kadeem Hardison of A Different World fame. If you guys are old enough to remember A Different World, yes.
Yeah, so he's out there for some comic relief. He is. He says a lot of funny stuff, and he's kind of like the sidekick kind of character to Sidney in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
So then we get Sidney telling a story about Michael Jordan, how Michael Jordan came out to the courts one day and took him to the hole and all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
All right, just the kind of thing. Think about it. Okay, look, you're a basketball player and you're on the pick. You just play pickup basketball or like I talk about Vince Carter because I was one of the assistant coaches on the team that my high school coach. We played against Vince Carter twice a year for 2 years. So I talk about how our team beat Vince Carter. So this is kind of in the same way where he's like, oh, Michael Jordan came out here to the courts and he took me to the court. It's like, it's his claim to fame that Michael Jordan took him to the hole, scored on him, So it's kind of like that he wants people to be, oh yeah. So that's kind of like that kind of story. I always thought that was funny about that. I was like, everybody's got that kind of story out on the court.
Not quite sure how accurate or truthful it is, but everyone's got to embellish.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So Sidney keeps his arm up after he scores the 4th one. Sidney misses, Billy wins. Billy hustles Sidney. Billy says, "Honey, I'm home." She says, "How much money did you bring home?" This is the first time we see Gloria played by
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez. And she's like, "How much money did you bring home?" Just like I don't want to say something I shouldn't say, but the woman's like, "How much money did you bring home?"
Well, I mean, if hustling in the basketball court is your only source of income at that point, you're going to be interested in what he was able to scrounge up during that day.
Yeah. So you're right. That's very, very good point there. So she wants to get on Jeopardy, so she's studying. And she's telling him all these different stats about things she looked up and whatnot on because she's been studying these books to try to get on Jeopardy.
Yep.
And then this whole thing about I love you Infinity Plus and whatnot. And that's interesting because there was a little movie called Avengers Infinity War, and there was a little thing, I love you 3000.
I never really thought about that.
Interesting. I love you Infinity plus Infinity, but I love you 3000 in Infinity War. I wonder if somebody was a fan of White Man Can't Jump that might have been in the writing writing room of Infinity War.
I'm not sure about go that far.
No,
But I will say, like, while I like the character of Gloria, she is a bit of a nagging woman because, like, she's just trying to bait Billy into, like, giving her the incorrect answer to whatever, like, question she poses. And that kind of irks me. But other than that side of her personality, I dig Gloria.
Yeah, I mean, look, these guys are all hustlers. They're not the most. She's pretty smart, but she's studying to be smart. They're kind of street level type of people. They're not like geniuses or anything. So she has like a kind of a street level mentality of the type of person she is, you know. So, it's okay. He says, put his mouth where the money is. He puts the money somewhere, and he says, "Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put my mouth where the money is." And then he goes to take a shower. I don't want to say where the money was. And if you see the movie, you know where the money was.
Yes. And if you haven't seen the movie, I'm pretty sure you can get a kind of an idea just from his retelling.
I was like, I'm gonna put my mouth where the money was. I'm like, wow, what a great line that was, you know. Then there's men at the door. She loves him, but she's not getting shot over his debt. She thinks it's these guys that they owe money to.
Mm-hmm. The Stuckey brothers, I believe, is their names.
Brothers, yeah. What happened was they tried to buy a car, and the car didn't turn out to be all that.
Yeah, it was a lemon.
And so what happened was they ended up trying to get their money back, and they couldn't get. So he ended up hustling a basketball game to try to get the money back, and he lost the basketball game because a guy was insulting him, and he just couldn't play the part of the hustle involved in the basketball game anymore. He ended up winning the basketball game, not losing it, right? Now what happened? He won the basketball game, which made the guys lose their money.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. So then, needless to say, they came looking for him for the money. And they've been looking for him wherever he went.
Yeah, they've been on the run from the Stuckey brothers for a while when we meet Gloria.
Yeah. So it's not them. It's Sydney who shows up at the door. And then he tells them how he played at some small school in Louisiana, some small college in Louisiana. And Sydney offers him to play in a 2-on-2 tournament. But before they do that, they're going to do a little bit of hustlings.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do some hustling now because he hustled him. He thinks that he's a good hustler, so he wants to team up with him.
Yeah, they join forces and see what they can do.
Yeah, so Sydney says he'll take anybody on the court versus two guys. And so needless to say, we're out on the court, and he says, I'll pick anybody out here. I'll pick anybody out here. You two guys right there, these two big-looking guys. And he said, I'll take anybody out here against you guys. And the guys, they choose Billy sitting on the sideline.
I think he was coming off of like the train or something. He was coming down the stairs. He hadn't even gotten to the court yet at that point. And they're like, no, I want that guy because I see he has a basketball in his hand. He hasn't even at the court yet. They're like, give him the white guy.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. He's walking down the steps still. And those guys use the term, once again, chump. They pick him out and they say, hey, get that chump over there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a running theme in the movie that the word chump is used to describe somebody that they feel like is not good, not a good person, not talented, whatever, you know? Mm-hmm. And so they end up getting Billy, like you said. One of the guys gets $250 after selling his gun. But before he does he sticks up the guy at the store.
Yeah, I forgot about this part. He goes to stick up the guy at the corner store, like just around the corner, and the guy at the register recognizes him. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you trying to rob me?" And so he sells him the gun, trying to get some cash in order to play the pickup game. Yeah, it's funny moment.
Yeah, that was so funny. How he comes in, he gets the mask, puts it over, and says, "Here, give me all your money." And he's like, "Is that you, buddy? Whatever."
Yeah,
I think yeah, that was pretty. I didn't expect it because I hadn't seen it in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to rewatch it. I was like, "Oh my god, that is so funny!" Yeah, but so then they end up playing 2-on-2, and Billy and Sydney win. Bill and Sydney play a hustle with the guys the guy starts trying to stab them with a knife.
Yeah, he gets like a blade, like a straight razor that out of his pocket, and comes after him. And at this point, Billy and Sydney are pretending that they've never met each other, not at all. And then Billy's like, "Sydney, are you crazy? Like, you've got a wife and kid." Sydney's like, "Why are you talking about my wife and kid right now? I've never met you."
He blows the cover because the guy's running over there and trying to stab him with the
Absolutely.
knife. He blows the hustle, but it still works because they run away, they get away.
Yeah, because he goes to his car. He's like, "I'm gonna go get my other gun, shoot everybody," and then they all realize, oh, he's actually going to get a gun. So everyone scatters. They jump into Gloria's sitting there waiting in the convertible. Yep. They hop over the fence, take off, and it was good scene.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. Thank God Gloria was sitting there because if she wouldn't, they would have been. Yeah. In Rosie Perez accent. That's one of the things I love about her. Her accent in this is like really right out of New York. Yeah. That New York accent, with her Puerto Rican, I guess, Latino inflection that she puts on it. She's that adds to some of the comedic stuff that she says. So then we get this whole theme about the Jimi Hendrix music. They're playing Jimi Hendrix music in the car. New music, Sydney doesn't like it. One of the things is that, well, how dare you? You don't have the right to listen to Jimi Hendrix music. You can listen to it, but you can't really hear it. And whatnot. It's like, what? Because I'm a white guy, I can't listen to Jimi Hendrix music. He's got a white drummer or whatever. They get in this whole argument about this. I'm like, anybody can listen to Jimi Hendrix music. That's what I'm thinking. Jimi Hendrix isn't trying to say, oh, only black people can listen to my music. No, anybody. He's one of the greatest musicians of all time. He wants the world to listen to his music, and Billy just happens to be a guy who likes Jimi Hendrix music. But they didn't like the music he put in after Jimi Hendrix.
The best line of that scene to me was when Billy's like, "Would you tell this Gladys Knight and the Pimps?" And Sydney's like, "It's Pips, Gladys Knight and the Pips." And funny thing, until White Men Can't Jump, I too thought it was Gladys Knight and the Pimps.
Oh no!
So embarrassing, but it's true.
Oh no! Yeah, sometimes I knew a lady. I'll tell you a story afterwards. It has nothing to do with it. I'll tell you a story afterwards. So we finally pull up to Sydney's place, and we find out he lives at the Vista View Apartments. Okay, now let me tell you something. If there isn't a town in America, there isn't a Vista View Apartments. There's a Vista View Apartments in every town in America. I'm telling you right now, everywhere has got Vista View Apartments everywhere. And there's no vista, and there's no view.
as stated by his wife later on.
That's right. Trust me. Google Vista View Apartments. They're everywhere. And there's no vista and there's no view. So I love that. I love that they call that out in the movie. So then they end up fighting over Billy's girlfriend, arguing over Gloria. Sydney hits on Gloria. So this whole thing starts while he's talking about now he found out what his weakness is, and it's Gloria. He can't get rattled on the court. Billy can't. But when it comes to you start hitting on Gloria or saying something about Gloria, that's what gets under Billy's skin.
Yep.
Don't mess with my girl.
That's fair.
So then they are going to Watts. Now, if people who are watching this now, Watts is a very dangerous neighborhood in Los Angeles, California. A lot of crime and stuff happens at Watts. So they're going to go play on Watts. So they wanted to put that in there. I think they wanted to get that in there just so people, Watts, oh boy, better look out, Then I like this one. Ray Charles song playing. I was once blind, now I can see. What a prophetic song at that moment in the movie. That Ray Charles song. I was once blind, but now I can see. So this is basically this Ray Charles song. I think they put that there because they kind of have an idea of what is going on. The viewer, the main characters in the movie. I think everybody can really see what's going on in this movie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think maybe that song was put there for a reason. And I think it was a perfect place to put that Ray Charles song. Would you say you got something?
No, I honestly don't remember the song in this. It's been a bit since I've seen the movie. I don't remember this exact song at the exact moment. Okay,
yeah, no, it's fine. It's no big deal. Yeah. So song makes Gloria want to have sex with Billy over and over and over. We'll leave it at that. We will, and I will say about this. Even though she gets on Billy about money and this and that and the other, she is a little bit horny in this movie.
A little bit, yeah.
She's a bit horny in this movie.
Is this the part where we get to when she talks about how she's thirsty?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is the part where I take issue with the character of Gloria, because I'm sorry, that whole argument. I mean, she claims that she read it in a magazine, and this is where she gets the idea from. But I am completely on Billy's side of the argument. I'm like, when you tell me you're thirsty, or if I say I'm thirsty, that means if anyone in the room has a glass of water, it means I'd love to have a sip. Like, if you say you're thirsty, I'm gonna go get you a glass of water. That's what I'm gonna do. And she's like takes offense to it, like she's that he's trying to like be omnipotent or like do everything for her. I'm like, no, he was being considerate. You said you were thirsty. He got up, grabbed you a glass of water. How are you taking issue with this? I don't understand. But she had read some magazine articles and got it in her head.
Not to point a finger at myself here, but I think what it is women. That women sometimes will start an argument over nothing.
Men do it too, but women are much more. I would say it's much more on the women's side. Yeah, they tend to we sometimes tend to just want to pick a fight because we're just in a mood to. I mean, it happens sometimes.
And maybe at that moment she just is like, I'm thirsty, and that was her way of this.
I guess, but how are you he gets something he gets you a glass of water. You said you were thirsty. Why are you having an issue with this?
I would have did the same thing.
Me too.
I would have did the exact same thing.
As would I.
So why she comes with this metaphysical kind of
He's supposed to say, I too sympathize. I too know what it's like to be thirsty. Like if a guy was like, if I said I'm thirsty and he turned to me, he's like, I too have experienced dry mouthedness. I'm like, yeah, and go get me a drink.
I don't know what Ron Shelton was doing with putting that whole scenario, that whole thing in the movie. That was a little weird.
But it does set up something later on that we will get to. So
yeah, you're right. So Billy says, I want to screw. Once again, we get sex talk. Gloria says, no, it's make love or F-U-C-K. It's not screw.
Yeah, screwing is for carpenters, I believe was her line.
Yeah. Then Billy throws the glass of water on her.
In her face, right in her face. I thought, you know what? I'm like, she kind of deserved it at that point. I'm glad she didn't she was like, oh, you're going to get it or whatever she says. But yeah, at least she didn't get too pissed off. She kind of took it lightheartedly. But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay. Then who shows up? The bill collectors, your favorite guys. They want their money. And Gloria, they both run. They both start running. He grabs all the stuff. She doesn't have anything in her hands. And he's like, why are you running so slow? I got all the stuff. I love it. He's got the guitar. He's got the clothes. He's got everything. So they end up running away, but they end up coming back. They go back to the Ocean Breeze Motel where they're staying. So then Sydney, all dressed up, looking at a house. Okay. Tells you this guy's a shady character. He's now with his wife looking at a house all dressed up, not in the hustle clothes that he was playing on the basketball court.
Well, yeah, you go to look at a house, you don't want to be there in fucking basketball shorts and a tank top.
Yeah, no, you're right. So Sydney says price is a little bit too steep for him. Of course it is, because he knows he doesn't have any money. But his wife's like, I want the house, but Sydney won't let her work. So okay, she just had a baby, right? Mm-hmm. So he wants her to take care of the kid, but she wants to work so they can get the house and whatever stuff. He wants to be the man's man and say, no, you can't work. But this day and age, that don't work. Women work nowadays. They have that. It's called women's live now, right?
Well, I would love it if there was. Most families were able to get by on a one income household, but that just ain't the case nowadays, unfortunately.
No, you're absolutely right. Especially in places where you live. That ain't cheap where you live, probably.
Nope.
In the big cities up north, northeast, it ain't cheap. Now, it ain't cheap here, but it's way more cheaper here where I live. I could barely make it. I could never make it where you live. So she says he's working with 3 jobs plus b-ball is paying the bills. She's like, "Oh, hustling basketball games ain't a way to make a living." Well, if you're him, it is, because he's good at it.
Yeah. So far, so good.
So then they get a $1,700 bet. Sydney and partner, they choose versus them. So the guys that he finds these 2 guys and they bet $1,700 and that they get to pick any guy on the court. And they, of course, choose Billy once again. They choose Billy as his partner. Game to 10 by ones. Now the game is 10-8. The other guys, not Billy and
Sydney's having an off game in this one. Sydney's definitely having an off game.
So we find out that they end up losing the game. Billy loses everything he had and has to break the news to Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
So needless to say, they didn't win this game. The hustle didn't work, and they lost $1,700 of whose money? Billy's money.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to go back with his tail between his legs and break it to Gloria that he lost all of the money.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, it doesn't go good for Billy.
No, but this is when Gloria realizes the real deal that was going down with this game.
Bingo.
And points it out to Billy that, guess what? He was hustling and got hustled while hustling.
Yep. And that's the old switcheroo we got going on there.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking when you're watching it because you're like, oh man, and then you're like, oh man, damn it, he just backstabbed him after he freaking has been helping him, but he never forgot that first hustle when he hustled him.
Yeah, for sure.
For $62. He hustles him for $62, and now he's hustles him for $1,700.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fair, but whatever.
But I love the fact that Gloria kind of forces Billy to go and confront Sydney for what was done.
Yeah. I mean, that to me was a key scene in this movie, because where would the movie go if this doesn't happen?
For sure.
The movie's probably over if this doesn't happen, because he lost the money, the hustle's over, he got hustled, boom, the movie's over. So if Gloria doesn't convince him to say, hey, we're going back to Billy's house and we're going to get that money back, the movie's over. And it'd be a pretty short movie at that point, right?
For sure.
So Billy says she doesn't understand the rules. These aren't men's rules. These aren't men's rules. So once they get to the house, and Gloria's talking about these rules. These aren't the right rules, and how Sydney played this whole situation. These aren't the right rules of hustling. Like, you don't go back and get the money. Well, she's like, you got hustled by your own teammates, so the rules don't apply here. Those aren't the rules. Yeah,
so. I love the fact that in this scene we get the interaction between Gloria and Sydney's wife. I forget the name of the actress who plays Sydney's wife. She was in Poetic Justice, and she was brilliant in that one. But no, she's great in this scene, saying, "Oh, we're not giving you the money back." But then you go back out into I'm sure you want to talk about the living room scene where everyone's sitting around and
Tyra Farrell is her name. Tyra Farrell.
Yes, thank you.
So they're in like you said, they're Billy's. They end up taking a bus to Crenshaw. First of all, Okay, another rough section of Los Angeles. You don't go to Crenshaw if you're a white guy and at night. You just don't do it. And he's like, we can't go to Crenshaw. She's like, we're getting on the bus, so we're going to Crenshaw because that's where Sydney lives. And like you said, the wives end up getting in the kitchen, and they go at it in the kitchen,
Yep.
And then, of course, Sydney's argument is, oh, you hustled me long before I hustled you. But whose hustle was worse? Stabbing your old friend in the back because he hustled you for $62 or hustling you for $62?
Yeah, this is where we get the line, you either smoke or you get smoked. And you got smoked.
Yep, I got it right here. You just quoted my notes.
My bad.
You're good. You're good. You this is why you're talking about this movie. You know this movie, Peggy.
Yes,
that's why we're talking about, because you know, and you know how you either get smoked or you smoke or you get smoked, and you got smoked. What a great line! What a great line.
Good one.
So Gloria and Sydney's wife argue about the money, and then they start this whole Indians and Pilgrims argument. It's like, okay, how the Pilgrims stabbed the Indians in the back. Well, yeah, they gave them disease. They start killing the Indians off. That ain't the same. That ain't the same, is it? Start killing the Indians off by giving them disease.
I'm just gonna not talk about that because
that was not right. Why they put that in there? Yeah, that was rough, right? That's not the same as stabbing your buddy in the back for $1,700. Do what the Pilgrims did to the Indians. So Gloria tells a story about debt collectors in the car and the throwing of the basketball game. So we find out about the car and the throwing of the basketball game and why they need to get the money back. So she's talking to Sydney's wife, and Sydney's wife says, I think I have a solution. So she comes, hey, these guys need to kiss and make up. Then neither one of them wants to play in doubles tournament after the crisscross, the old switcheroo that Sydney pulled on Billy. But they reluctantly agree to play together in the tournament because they were originally going to be in the tournament anyway. And so we get to meet for the first time Flight and Willie. Now, Flight and Willie are considered the two best guys on the pickup tournaments in the pickup leagues and so forth. And Sydney's pointing these guys out, and Billy starts trash talking these guys out of nowhere. Like, he hadn't trash talked to anybody the entire movie, but he starts trash talking the two best guys out of nowhere.
He was claiming to be in the zone.
Yeah. And so, of course, Sydney gets mad at this. She's like, what are you doing? What are you getting these guys riled up for?
Right.
So he keeps heckling these guys pretty bad. When they're playing, he's off to the side heckling them, you know. Then he starts giving everybody crap. Everybody, it doesn't matter who they're playing, he's giving them crap.
Yep.
He's heckling everybody. So he's heckling the guys. Flight and Willie start getting mad at Billy. He finally got to him enough to where they want to go at it.
Finally got into their skin.
Yeah. They call him, here's this word again, chump. He does not like to be called a chump. This is the word that really kind of gets under his skin.
It's like Marty McFly with chicken.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then here they go again, arguing about Jimi Hendrix again. Fight breaks out. Billy and Sydney arguing, but they're playing good together. So this is okay. Now, throughout this whole thing, I know he's talking crap to all these guys, but then he starts going to arguing with Sydney. He's like, is this part of the hustle? Is this part of getting under their skin, getting on his skin, getting everybody's skin so they can kind of get the hustle going here? Is that the whole thing or what?
I think he's just trying to show that he's not going to back down when those two teams do finally meet. Like, don't underestimate him. He's trying to get them a little bit agitated so that they're a little bit off their game when he's playing them. Yeah. I think that's my theory as to why he's doing that.
Yeah, and then Flight pushes Billy in the back. They got and the other guy's arguing with themselves now. So now everybody's arguing. They want to start a fight and everything again. I mean, this is just nonstop, this whole ordeal during this game. And this is like a Christian kind of for children's, like a charity or whatever. Yep. The guy's like, dang it, man, we're never going to get our sponsors. We're going to lose our sponsors and everything. And they get all worried because these guys are out there taking it serious, but they forget this. It's kind of Christian children's sponsorship.
Yeah, they're playing like they were just playing a regular pickup game, like it wasn't an official tournament, like there wasn't like this huge prize money, cash prize at the end of it.
Yeah. So Billy and Sydney win the tournament and get $5,000. So Billy wants to bet his half of the $5,000 on his ability to dunk. What a dumb decision this was.
Well, yeah, because Sydney has the theory that white men can't jump, hence the title of the thing. Gets 3 tries on the rim, misses all 3, has to go back home to Gloria to say, yeah, I won the money, but then I was a dumbass and I lost it all to Sydney.
Yeah, that was pretty demoralizing because they worked out their differences. They played in the tournament, and then they win the tournament, and then like a dummy, he bets that he can dunk and he gets 3 tries and he can't. And that's how we get the title of the movie. Like you said, white men can't jump.
Yep.
But I'll tell you something, just a quick, I don't off the side. Larry Bird, one of my idols, guy I idolize. I watched him play. He was 6'10". Okay. He could dunk, but you know what? Larry Bird never dunked. You go watch a Boston Celtics game and see how many
perimeter shooter. Yeah.
He always said, why should I dunk when I can shoot and I could pass? Or why do I have to take the easy thing and I could just do something that can better benefit my teammates or do something that takes more skill than just dunking? That takes no skill. And so
shots worth 3, dunks worth 2. I understand his logic completely, but I'm sorry, if you're 6'10", you better be able to dunk.
Yeah,
you better be able to.
He just didn't dunk. Yeah. You hardly ever saw Larry Bird dunk. Like instead of going up for a dunk, he did a layup. If you ever watch Celtics games, he'll make layups instead of dunks. Yeah, and he could dunk. He was 6'10". So I always thought that was one of the cool things about Larry Bird. He had the ability to dunk, but he didn't dunk. Because I don't want to get involved. All right, I don't want. But dunking is kind of like the game has gone down a little bit. Dunking. I wish.
What?
I wish
I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement.
I wish the goal was higher. I'll be honest with you. So guys can't dunk.
Oh wow! I completely disagree with you on that point, but I digress. Let's continue.
It's understandable. A lot of people like the dunk. They think it's exciting. They think it's good for the game. But I feel like it just. I think passing and shooting and stuff like that are
it's all a part of it.
Yeah, I know. But we'll get off of that for now. Sorry, I get on that little tangent there.
All good.
Billy walking home pretty sad with the trophy. He still got that trophy, even though he got no money.
Right.
And he brings home Gloria a present, even though he doesn't have any money. He's still got a present for and Gloria. But when she welcomes, she says, "The pizza's cold and the wine is warm." 2 things you definitely don't want. You got pizza and wine. You don't want warm wine and you don't want cold pizza. Some people like cold pizza.
In the mornings, it's not bad.
Huh?
I said next morning, cold pizza for breakfast, not a bad decision. But in this instance, no, it's probably not ideal.
No. So Billy gives her the present, and it's a nice little black dress, which, women, they like a little black dress. It makes them feel sexy. And so that was like his consolation prize to her since he had
to come home with something because he knew he was in trouble.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So he gives her the present. Billy breaks the news about losing the money. And then she says, "It happened again. What is it?" And she says, "You happened again." It's not it happened again. You happened again. That's and I was like, oh, man, that's rough.
It was his ego that got to him. It was just, had he not lost, not his temper, but not lost his cool, if you will, and taken the bet from Sydney, everything would have been fine. Yeah, she's right. It was his fault.
And of course, now we come up with the same thing. I've been waiting to get on Jeopardy. Billy says you'll never get on that show.
That's not something you say, especially in that instance.
You don't want to say that to her because
No.
that's like her dream is to get on Jeopardy, and she's studying and everything. And he's like, "You'll never get on Jeopardy." Oh, great! You didn't come home with the money. Now you're gonna tell her she's not gonna get on Jeopardy. That's not good, buddy.
That's not the move.
So what happens? She packs up and leaves him.
She does.
She packs up and leaves him. And while he's trying to prevent her from leaving, the carpet in the room is on fire.
I forgot about that part.
The carpet is on fire. I didn't even realize that until she's like, look, the carpet's on fire. So he has to go back and put out the carpet. And some guy drives up in a truck and picks her up.
Yep, and she's gone.
Yep, she's gone. And what happens? The sprinklers come on. And he gets soaking wet. Well, they end up.
That's pretty much rock bottom for Billy right there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this guy's had a rough go of it since the beginning of the movie. And so then the guys catch up to Billy again. Oh, boy. This time, he really doesn't have anything. He's telling the truth. He tells the guys, I don't got nothing. I don't have the money, And, he disagrees, asks why he didn't keep going with the fix. So the guys, damn autocorrect on my notes. The guys say, why didn't you keep going on the fix? Now we found the story why he didn't go. We keep going on the fix, which we already said. The reason why he was insulted. We find out if you insult him with words like chump or whatever, he doesn't respond well.
Nope.
Anything else, he plays it pretty cool, He does.
Yeah.
So Billy begs for 1 week more to pay the guys off. Then we get Sydney. Sydney hustles a guy about a house tiles. It's like he's at this restaurant, and the guy's got a bunch of house tiles laid out on the table. He's like, yep, this is the tile I want. All right. This is I guess he's in construction or some kind of house repair is one of his hustles he does.
I think he's like a contractor of some sort that he does on the side because he does have the 3 jobs. I wouldn't necessarily call that part a hustle. I think the hustle is reserved for the basketball court. I think he just has a lot of part-time gigs that he does just to keep afloat.
Yeah. So that's the guy shows up at the restaurant with tiles, and he said, I like this tile here. So I guess we're going to go with the bathroom tile or whatever tile. I don't know where they're going to put it. Billy interrupts the meeting. Billy shows up there, interrupts the meeting, says he's a desperate. He's desperate.
Yeah.
And so Sydney says a man should never act desperate. Which, it's not good on. It's not a good look to act desperate. It really isn't a good look.
But he has to figure out a way how to get Gloria back. I mean at that point he has no other options but to ask Sydney for help in this matter.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So everybody has a cross to bear. Billy is his cross. I love that. He admits it that Billy is his cross. Sydney does. He admits that he can't get away from this guy. It's like, I have to keep helping this guy out, even though he can't help himself. I keep going back and helping.
I think Sydney is afraid to admit that he and Billy are actually like pretty good friends. That it's not just a business transaction when they go and team up with the whole scam on the basketball courts. That they are indeed becoming really good friends. Yeah, no,
I think you're right about that. So Sydney asks a favor of Robert to get Gloria on the TV show lot. Robert is one of the guys that were involved in the $17 hustle.
Yes,
$1,700 hustle.
Yep. And he works security on the lot where Jeopardy is shot. So that's Billy's kind of but continue.
Yeah. So, and he says, okay, I will get her on the lot if you can make a half-court hook shot.
Yes. At first he thought, no, it was like a 3/4 court shot because he thought it was taking it from the top of the key and shooting one way on the court. And he's like, nah, you're shooting at that hoop and a hook shot.
Yeah, which, anybody in the rubber, there's no way he was going to make this shot. But
if he missed it, he would lose his car.
Yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, Billy's great, though. I mean, he's proven that when it's when everything's on the up and up and things are in his hands, he can take care of business. Like he got screwed by Sydney that one time. That wasn't in his hands, you know?
No, that was Sydney throwing the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Billy's got things in his hands and he can take care of things, he usually does. And in this case, he had to make a 3/4 court hook shot.
Yeah.
And he does.
And he sinks it.
He sinks it, which pretty
but here's where the timeline of the movie gets a little off. The half-court shot gets her on the lot. That doesn't get her on the show, but somehow it just cuts straight to her actually being a contestant. Don't know how we get from A to B in that regard, but it's a movie. It can only be so long, so I'll accept the fact that we kind of jumped a few steps in that.
So they probably edited all that stuff out in the editing booth. So she's on Jeopardy, needless to say. And we get our first look of young Alex Trebek.
Yes, looking so young with the dark hair and the mustache going. Hadn't really gone the salt and pepper yet.
No.
It was kind of cool to see him back because you kind of forget how young he was back in the day hosting that thing.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been doing that Jeopardy a long time.
Long time.
Yep. So then we get we find out that the returning champion had won previously 3 times, and he's really, really good.
So good.
And Gloria has her work cut out for her. But she's playing good so far.
Well, no, the first question out the gate was a sports question. And it was like the rebound leader of the NBA, and she guesses Babe Ruth. Yeah. So bit of a toe stub in that.
I love that.
They cut to Billy and Sydney, and the thing's like, Babe Ruth? Like, what the? She's like, just wait, that sports isn't her strong suit. But it's funny, one of the categories in Jeopardy was specifically a category she was studying earlier in the movie, foods that begin with the letter Q. So, yeah. Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Couldn't ask for better luck with that.
I mean, how lucky could she get that one of the categories ends up foods with the letter Q?
Right.
And he cleans up on this guy. And the guy who had won 3 times in a row, he's looking over. What the heck is going on here? Who is this lady? Mm-hmm. Quince, and she gets the double Jeopardy, and it's quince.
What is a quince? Which was the food in the Garden of Eden? Forbidden fruit, yeah.
Forbidden fruit. Like, what the heck is going on here? I'm like, dang, quiche. Yeah. She gets quiche. I'm like, I've had quiche, so I knew that one, But so she's playing really great. So Billy brings on Gloria's door, bangs on the door. So we're done playing, and she had been playing great at that point. Yep. She doesn't want to see Billy, but Billy goes in the side door, the extra door, and sings her a song. What a romantic moment. They don't get along. She argues. She leaves. He gets her on Jeopardy. She's doing good. He goes in. He sings her a song.
And the song is about the dry-mouthedness, the water glass from earlier in the movie.
Yeah. How ironic was that? That comes back about the thirsty and the water and all that stuff.
I have to admit that was a cute move by Billy to reference that earlier argument that they had, because that's what actually turns her mind in that moment and gives him another shot. Yeah,
absolutely. That was a cute moment because then when we fast forward and they're going at it again in a hotel room. It's their favorite pastime, going at it in a hotel room.
Yeah. Boyfriend and girlfriend, you kind of do that kind of thing.
And then we hear when they're making love. Gloria's song is playing, so that's good that Gloria is playing while Gloria and him are having sex. She says, "Tell the truth. You didn't think Jeopardy would call." He says she says that to him, but we all know the truth behind the whole thing.
That he got it there.
He's the one who got her on the show. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for him getting her on the show, she wouldn't have been on the show in the first. If he didn't get her on the lot so she could get on the show, she never would have got on the show in the first place. So she gives Billy $2,000 to buy some clothes for job interviews. So this is part of her trusting him and kind of getting back with him. Is she wants him to go find a job?
Yeah, she doesn't want him to keep on hustling in the basketball court. She wants him to make an honest living somewhere. That's
right. So then we fast forward to Sydney's apartment was broken into, and the $5,000 he had gotten from winning the tournament, and betting Billy about the dunks is gone, and that was going to be their startup money to get a house and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, get out of the Vista View apartments.
Get out of the Vista View apartments, and of course, Billy's wife is not a happy camper about this. She's pretty mad, and then she says it's her fault that she lost, and says she wants to get a job. Like, wait a minute here. Why is it her fault that the money got stolen? I mean, what did she do that somebody broke into the apartment and stole the money? You know, I don't get that. But so Sydney says she can work, and he'll figure out how to get them out of the situation they are in. So Billy says Gloria won't go for Sydney's deal. Sydney comes to Billy now. Sydney's on the other end now, and he's coming to Billy, trying to get Billy to help him.
Yeah, because they heard that the King and Duck Johnson are hustling once again. These are two storied hustlers from back in the day that are back at it once again, and they think that they could take them. And so that is Sydney's brilliant idea to figure out how to get out of this hole that he's now in because of the robbery.
Yeah, and we all know that Billy kind of owes Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do for the technically
for the favor for putting him in touch with the guy who got him on the lot for the guy who on the lot. Yeah, so yes, Billy owes him. Yeah, so Billy owes him for that. So he says it's the last time. Billy says he's, Gloria kind of he says he owes Gloria and he owes Sydney. He owes them both in a way. And he tells Gloria to say, this is the last time. After this, I'm not going to do this anymore. And needless to say, what do you think? I'm an idiot? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, God, that was rough.
She rolled away.
Then he tells her it's a guaranteed victory, but by that point, she doesn't care. And Gloria says she loves him, and she says goodbye. And, that I kind of feel bad for Billy, but he kind of went to the well too many times with Gloria,
I mean, she got her heart broken woman too many times, and she didn't want to go through that again. She thought maybe he had turned a corner, but obviously, it's a hard habit to break, I suppose, because you see a chance at some easy money. You're just like, okay, one last time. I mean, it's a hard thing to resist. But then she has that whole thing about sometimes when you win, you actually lose. Sometimes when you lose, you actually win. Sometimes when you tie, you actually win or lose. And sometimes when you win or lose, you actually tie. And he wasn't getting that at all. And then he gets that much later, but we'll get to that.
No, he didn't get that at all at the time. And you're absolutely 100% right. So then he says, Billy says they are on a roll and they'll party later at the hotel. And then they play the game. And needless to say, she's gone by that point. They play the game, and they're up 14-13, and they win the big game. Billy's dunk, of all things.
Yes, he finally does it. He finally gets up there. He gets dunk.
And he ends up giving the alley-oop. And so because he was able to get that momentum of jumping up without the ball and then grabbing the ball, he was able to dunk. But when he's running himself off the ground, he couldn't dunk.
But it was such a great moment when he just kind of screams and pulls himself up, almost like a pull up. And then, just such a great moment in the movie. But then soon after that, he realizes, was it really worth it?
No. I mean, at this point, you're helping Sydney because you owe him one. But is it helping Sydney at the cost of losing Gloria the right thing? Well, that's
rock in a hard place.
That is definitely a rock and a hard place. Because he goes back to the hotel, and of course, Gloria is gone. He quotes Gloria about winning and losing from earlier, which you just said. You just basically quoted line for line, word for word for what Gloria said earlier in the movie. Then, of all the things Sydney says this now, Sydney says, I got four words for you. Listen to the women.
Woman.
Listen to the woman. You didn't say this before. All of a sudden now you never listen to your own wife. He never listens to his own wife. And he's like,
oh, he does. He just plays it off like he doesn't. He does.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Sydney's wife wears the pants in that family. Trust me on that.
Okay. All right. So the debtors come looking for the money he owes them. So he ends up paying them with the money he got. And they show a picture of him faking his death. So when they have people that owe them money in the future, they can show them a picture of him. So now we know all them pictures are probably faked.
Yeah, I've never understood that part. Like, why would you have a little dossier of all the people that you've either beaten the crap out of or killed? Like, that's just, why don't you just, it's like the burn book in Mean Girls. Like, why would you keep all that evidence right there? I don't know.
Yeah. So are they all fake deaths though? Are they real deaths?
Probably, but like, yeah, it's just a strange, that little memento keepsake bragging type of thing to have. It's strange to me.
Yeah. Well, gangsters get caught for some reason. They always get caught. They always end up getting caught. So I guess this is their way. They're going to end up getting caught. They have the evidence.
It's like the wet bandits. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Who knows? So Billy says she always comes back, but this time she's gone. Yeah, she's gone, Billy. She's not coming back at this point.
He messed up one too many times with her.
Yeah. So now he says he's got to get a job. Once again, these guys are arguing about Jimi Hendrix again and the dunk, and then says, oh, you see why you could dunk, and he tells them why he could dunk and why he couldn't dunk before and all this stuff. Then out of nowhere, mom jokes another running, like this whole movie has so many like running gags or running jokes or running themes throughout the whole movie. They all come back before the end of the movie, right here at the end.
Yeah.
So then Sidney gives the singers $20, says if he doesn't take care of the brothers, nobody will. Continues arguing as film ends, and the song at the end of the film is White Men Can't Jump song during the credits. So, all right. So the two things I always ask people when I do the Bleacher Features, Peggy, are this. You said a little bit of this at the beginning, but what is it about this film that just resonates with you? And then also, why is this film a great film, and that it'll continue to be one of these great films people go back to over and over again, decades later? 92? It came out almost 30 years ago. This film came out 92, 93. So it's like 20 something years old. And we're talking about it now, and it's a film that you love, and you show people how much you love it by talking about it and sharing your love by the quotes and so forth. But why will people continue to watch the show decades, 30, 40, 50 years later, and this film will continue to be a film that is people are influenced by?
Well, I hope it's a movie that people continue to watch for years to come, but I think the answer to both, in my mind, it comes down to the chemistry between Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. Their chemistry in this movie is just off the charts. I mean, I don't know what it is between the two of them, but like, you just want to go along for the ride. You want to go along for the story that they are presenting to you. You are both rooting for them the entire way, and also being like, oh, why did you do that? And like, just wishing that they wouldn't make the certain mistakes that they do make along the way, but you're on their side the whole entire time. And you can't have a successful movie unless your main guys have good chemistry, and these two had it in spades.
Yeah, they really did. You wouldn't suspected that Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes would make a great combination.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Woody from Cheers would like pull off being a basketball player, but Woody Harrelson's a chameleon and a great athlete. So, I mean, yeah, he does great.
Yeah. And, the thing is, I look at it as in a way, I know it's not a road trip picture, but it's like a buddy road trip picture, because the road trip is the beginning of the movie from when these characters meet to the end of the movie, and how their journey throughout the movie, their ups and downs for both of these characters throughout the movie. So in a way, it's a road trip movie, but it's also a buddy movie. Like this buddies like this in every town, in every state, and probably in every country. They're going out playing pickup basketball, and maybe one of the buddies isn't doing good, and then the other buddy has to pick them up by helping them out with a few bucks or whatever. And I look at it because I could resonate with this a lot because I played a lot of pickup basketball for a long time before I stopped being able to guard people. When I stopped playing, couldn't play defense anymore, Peggy, that was it. I gave up playing basketball.
Yeah.
I've not played pickup basketball in over, 15 years almost, because when I stopped being able to guard the young guys, like the teenagers, 16, 17, 18, 19, I was like, well, there goes my game. And I used to be a really good pickup basketball player. I mean, I made the high school team. Yeah, I was the last guy on the bench, but I made the team, and this to me was about the friendship between these two guys. And I've been there. I've had the ups and downs with a buddy of mine, and we played many of pickup basketball games. And I've had ups and downs. He's had ups and downs. I've helped him out. Just this week, this is going to air sometime in July or August, but, I'm recovering from my COVID vaccine, and he comes over, he brings me food, he brings me Gatorade, he brings me water because I'm not really feeling good, and that's what friends are for, and that's what to me, the real heart of this movie is that these guys are friends when it's all said and done, they're buddies.
Yep.
And you nailed it. You nailed it about 3/4 way. That these guys realize that they're friends with each other. They have each other. They have wives and girlfriends, but who do they really have? Each other.
Yeah, they were kind of reluctant to it, but then like I said, the chemistry, it's undeniable.
And so I think a lot of people can relate to the film on that level, that friendship between these two people, because there's people just like this all over the country.
Yep.
Playing pickup ball, one's struggling, one's not struggling. You know what I mean? They went to high school together, or they worked together, or whatever the case may be. And girls too. Girls can relate to this too. Women can relate to this.
Yeah, I haven't picked up a ball in years, but like you said, you were at the end of the bench. I was varsity as a freshman, so. But yeah, I haven't played. My knees are pretty bad now, unfortunately, so I haven't played in a while. But yeah, there's nothing better than being a part of a team, be it a 2-man team, 5-man team, what have you. I mean, just the camaraderie there's nothing like it.
No, there really isn't. But Peggy, I want to say thank you for wanting to talk about this movie with me. It's a movie that I haven't watched in a long time, but when I went back to it, I realized how much I loved it and how much the themes really resonate with me, and I really appreciate you bringing it up, because I know it's a movie that you love a lot too. Because we've been in various different things, and you bring up this movie sometimes, and I know you're a huge sports fan, so sports movies are a genre that you really
love me some sports movies. This is for sure. So, yeah, thank you for having me on the show. And if you guys out there, if you haven't seen it, I know you got pretty much the whole synopsis of the movie while watching this, but no, doesn't even do it justice. Go watch the movie. You will not be sorry.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Peggy, with that, where can you be found?
You can find me as a member of the Den faction in the Movie Trivia Schmodown. If you're unfamiliar with that, if you're a movie fan, if you're a movie lover, check out the league. It is fantastic. There is a Facebook page called Featured Presentation Productions, where every Wednesday I have a show called Fantasy Film Fights. We just take a random film topic and we draft it like fantasy style, like you would like a fantasy football draft. And you don't have to be a movie expert to be a part of the show. You just have to have a love of movies and be able to come up with a list of whatever topic is that week. And anyone's welcome on the panel. So come find me on Facebook. Peggy Gubbins. I am at Peggy B Ball across all social media platforms, aptly named Peggy B Ball. But yes, I'm around. You can find me.
Absolutely, you can. Peggy is one of the good ones out there in these circles that I kind of follow. I follow in, and she's a very deserving competitor. I've watched her matches. She's won one match and lost one.
I don't gotta bring up that loss.
That was brutal, Peggy. I'm telling you, I know I was rooting for Paige in the first one because I didn't realize she was a Bostonian. I was rooting for her. I wasn't rooting against you for as much as I was rooting for her.
That's fine.
The second one, wow, that was good. That was so brutal. I mean, that would just make me want to quit trivia altogether. But You're such a competitor.
It lit more of a fire under me. Is to come that close to going 2-0. Yeah, no, I'm ready for more.
I could not believe
watch
that.
out for me.
I could not believe that was shocking to me. But you can find me at Dan Skip Allen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Also at disappointmentmedia.com, where I'm a film critic in the Orlando, Florida area, and I write all kinds of movie reviews, retrospectives. If an actor dies, I'll do a movie review about that actor and his career. I do a lot of awards coverage. I've covered all the awards this past year. I do anniversaries. If a movie hits 20 years, 25 years, 35 years, 40 years, whatever. Sometimes I do movie anniversaries. Plus, I have my own blog called From the Fourth Row at WordPress.com. If I don't write something for disappointmentmedia.com, I'm writing for WordPress, From the Fourth Row at WordPress.com. Also, this is a summer series called Bleacher Features. It'll be airing this summer, so you can go back and watch all the episodes one by one. They're coming out starting in June. This obviously, but this is probably going to be in like August by now, by the time this episode comes out. But and I do another show called the Top 5 Weekly, but I haven't been doing that episodes of that in a while, so I don't know how much.
Who knows? By the time this comes out, maybe they'll pick it back up.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe. So for Peggy and myself, good evening, everybody.
Bye.